Artist development is an extremely important factor when launching your music career. In our ongoing series examining the hard rock metal landscape today, we sit down with veteran artist manager Jeremy Hammond from Western Front Music. We discuss what are the greatest challenges in launching a new artist career in today's market, as well as what are the most important non-creative qualities he looks for in clients he wants to manage, and much, much more. Right now. Hi, we're back here live at the second annual Global Rock Summit here at the Roosevelt Hotel in Hollywood. And we managed to catch up with Jeremy Hammond, who is a manager at Western Front, which is an artist development management company. And they handle Devilskin and Kate Midler-Heidke. And thank you so much for doing this. Thanks for joining us.
Well,
How has the summit been for you so far?
very informative. Yeah, I've had, I think, 3 panels so far. And it's good to hear the sort of anecdotal stories about, what's making X successful around the world today. Yeah, it's been very, very useful.
Is this your first summit that you've been?
The first rock summit, I think,
Okay.
too. I've been to Muse Expo.
Right.
So the first time I've done this one, have a rock band, as you mentioned,
Yeah.
Devil's Skin. So I figured they're here, and we're hoping to, make some noise and make some new contacts and start the ball rolling in the US.
Great. So I wanted to ask you the first question. You came from a marketing background at labels. How has this helped you as management and artist management?
Well, in marketing, it's all about connecting the artist to the music with an audience. So you're doing the same thing in management. And I think that today, even more so, I mean, the advent of the internet was the biggest thing in the history of music. I mean, it's singularly the most significant marketing tool imaginable. And so as a manager, my job is to find an audience for my bands, for my artists, and the internet gives me that ability to do that.
Right. At what point do you think that artists need a manager? We always ask this question because everybody's
It's an interesting question. It varies. I think once they start getting some traction, start getting a fan base, and they can't manage everything themselves. I mean, they should concentrate on playing their music, writing their music, recording their music, and have people around them, a team around them that's dealing with the agents, the labels, promoters, the publishers, the whole industry.
So it really kind of varies, you think?
Well, yeah, I think generally speaking, getting a manager, at a point where things are starting to happen, I think bands should learn how to do the sort of basics themselves, how to cross the road, how to go touring, how to communicate with their audience, how to perform, ideally, how to write songs, all those kind of things. They can woodshed and they can develop those skills. And at some point, once they start, getting a lot of gigs. I mean, managers now, I see them getting in the game with artists very early on. It's very competitive in that arena, finding a good manager. But there's a lot of managers out there looking for bands, and they're looking to see what's going on. There's a lot of data that they can access now. They can easily see where something's popping.
Right. What's the greatest challenge, in your opinion, in launching a new artist today in today's market?
Getting above the noise. That's really, this, millions of internet radio stations. There's, so much traffic out there, so much noise. So as a band, how can we get noticed? How can we get above the pack? How can we get above that noise? So that's the key thing. That's the first thing any band needs to figure out is to,
Are there any of things that stick out in your mind that you think? Obviously that's a great one, rising above the noise, because we're just being bombarded from so many.
Yeah. See, there's finite. There's gatekeepers. The radio is the worst because there's only so many radio stations that really are meaningful. They're the top of the pie or the food chain. There's that, but and then there's more gatekeepers as you go down through the ecosystem.
Right.
So there's more entry points, and it's finding those entry points. It's really using data to find your audience. That is the key. And that's the era we live in now. Is as an artist, you've got to figure out who your audience is and how can we reach them. How can we hack other audiences? Not in a disrespectful fashion, but
that's true. Yeah,
it's all about audience hacking.
Yeah. I love that term. You should trademark that. Do you think that new artists need to be at a different level today to get signed, even if that's even an important?
Yeah. The labels and the whole industry, for that matter, the dynamic has changed. It used to be, A&R dude would listen to an artist, a song, and say, I like that artist. this guy Jerry Greenberg that was talking this morning, who was at Atlantic in the heyday, and this guy was flying on his gut totally. Well, now these guys sit in an office and they look at data. They look at what trending, Twitter, hype machine, whatever it might be that pushes the needle. So they're doing it by numbers, and that is that the question, I guess.
I think so. Yeah. What beyond obviously great music, which is the main thing that everybody gets into this, whether they're on the business or creative sides, beyond the great music needs to be present for you to take on a new act. So they obviously have great music, but what are the other things that you look for besides the great music, the obvious?
Well, great music can go a long way.
It definitely. I agree.
You find artists like there's a song that's just got legs by itself. That's one thing.
Right.
But other times, it takes finessing. It takes sometimes it's more of an acquired taste. It's not immediate. So that's a baffling thing. And the most exciting thing about our business is it's not always like instant hits. Like Gautier has that song somebody used to know.
That just exploded. We interviewed him actually. There's a good manager, which was a great interview.
Yeah.
And he had some really cool things to say about how that whole story progressed.
So having those kind of songs, yes, that, what you obviously want, you want that. Plus you want an artist that, is willing to work 24/7, have the work discipline. I think that's really important. I think that, they have to know how to engage in the social media more and more now. Either you like it or don't like it.
Exactly.
It's a
the memory tool.
And the biggest thing I see lacking in the there's no middle class in the music business. We need to create a middle class, and to do that, we need to find artists that obviously they have the music. That's everything. That's the magic sauce.
Right.
But if they know first of all how to play, to tour, the discipline of and also getting to that place. Now, how do you get to that place? Well, you got to start developing, nurturing an audience. So we've got to engage that audience, and we've got to sustain and build that audience. And artists need to learn how to do that. They don't understand how to use the social media effectively. Some of them are naturals at it and do it really well, but others just have no idea. And varies in some markets. For example, with Devil Skin, huge on Facebook. There's nothing going on Twitter. Now in New Zealand, Facebook is huge, and Twitter doesn't mean much.
Right.
Over here, it's different. It's more like Instagram, and it's Twitter. So they got to understand what it is that moves the needle and how they can do that, and then how they can build it.
What works for them and their audience.
Yeah.
Some of them might be turned on to Instagram.
Absolutely right. You've got to be very savvy about knowing, understanding who your audience is. It's always that, and where they are, who they are, the psychographic information, the demographic information, geographic information, all that stuff, and figuring out, okay, that's who they are. I'm going to go and get them, and how can I talk to those people where they'll relate to what I'm saying and be engaged and want to help me as an artist grow my business.
Some really valuable pieces of information and insights from Jeremy. A lot of great value in there for you, especially if you're looking for a manager. So insiders, question of the day. What really stood out to you in our conversation with Jeremy? Was it what he needs to be present beyond the music for him to take on a client? Or was it the greatest challenges in launching a new artist today? Or was it the need for artists to be at a more advanced level of development in order to get signed? Or was it something else that impacted you during our discussion? We'd love to hear from you in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching this video. Please make sure to subscribe to MUBUTV for more information on how to educate, empower, and engage your music career. You can also check out a summary of this episode and everything we talked about in the description below as well. And if you enjoyed this video, we'd really love it if you hit the like button and let us know what other kinds of videos and types of content you would want to see on our channel. Hit us up in the comments below, and we'll see you in the next video.